What if I told you the heartbreak you're feeling right now is the best thing that's ever happened to you? Right now, the pain might feel unbearable, every memory a reminder of what's lost, every thought pulling you deeper into regret. But what if this very suffering was the hidden key to unlocking your greatest potential? The past isn't your weakness, it's your greatest teacher. Every loss is an opportunity to reinvent yourself, stronger and wiser than ever before. Pain is your power. Once you know how to use it, you're standing at a crossroads. Let the past control your future, or use it as fuel to become someone unbreakable. If you're ready to finally move on, hit the like button, subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment below, "I control my emotions, not my past." Now, let's begin. Number 1. Don't replay the hurt. You think about her every morning when you wake up and every night before you sleep. You catch yourself running through the same old memories, like a movie reel on loop, trying to find the scene where everything went wrong. Each replay feels like a desperate search for understanding, as if you might uncover a missing piece of logic that explains why she left. But the more you circle back, the more you sink into the same heavy ache. The truth is, every time you revisit those moments, you're not healing, you're reopening the wound. Stoicism reminds us that suffering is often self-inflicted when we cling to what's outside our control, and nothing is more outside your control right now than her decision to walk away. You keep hoping there's a reason that might soothe your pain, some grand explanation from her that would validate your heartbreak or make the situation more bearable. But she's gone. She made a choice. The reasons are hers alone, and even if you discovered them, they wouldn't erase the fact that she's no longer in your life. Obsessing over the past locks you in a mental prison. Marcus Aurelius warned against letting external events dominate the mind. Each time you press play on those memories, you reinforce the bars of that cell. Instead of analyzing the details of your final conversation, or second-guessing every slight hint of disinterest, you need to take decisive action. Remove her photos from your walls and phone, throw out the souvenirs that tether you to a dead chapter, and clear your space of anything that tempts you back into those endless mental replays. Replace that hollow longing with something that demands your presence. Hit the gym as soon as the thought of her creeps in. Dive into a challenging book that forces you to focus. Or reorganize your living space so thoroughly that every corner reminds you of forward motion instead of regret. In doing so, you seize control of your environment, both physical and mental. Stoicism doesn't preach emotional numbness, it preaches alignment with reality. Reality is telling you she's not coming back. And the energy you pour into remembering is energy you're stealing from your future self. By severing those emotional ties, you reclaim the parts of you that were lost in her shadow. You're not destroying the past, you're liberating yourself from its hold. This break might feel harsh, but it's the only way to stop the endless loop. You're allowed to mourn, yet you must not let grief become your default state. The result is a reclaimed mind, a clearer sense of self, and a readiness to step into your life without her looming over every decision. When you no longer replay the hurt, you free yourself to create something new, something that aligns with who you are becoming rather than who you were when you were with her. That is the essence of the Stoic path, to move forward, grounded in what is, not haunted by what. Now, if you're ready to take that first decisive step, speak out below. I refuse to rewind pain. My life moves forward from this moment. Number 2. Pain is your teacher. You've been trying to run from the ache inside you, convincing yourself that if you keep pushing it away, it will eventually vanish. But that ache is persistent, isn't it? It follows you when you wake and lingers as you try to sleep, reminding you of the pieces of yourself you handed over to someone who chose not to stay. In your quieter moments, you find yourself clinging to the hurt as though it were evidence of something noble, some testament to the depth of your love. Yet Stoicism teaches a different perspective. Pain isn't proof of your devotion. It's a signpost directing you toward the areas in which you've neglected your own responsibility for growth. You're not meant to be crushed by it. You're meant to learn from it, because pain, used wisely, is an unmatched teacher. Part of you believes that if it still hurts, then it must have been real, that the presence of suffering equates to the significance of what you lost. But that's an illusion keeping you chained to an experience that no longer exists anywhere but in your mind. Pain doesn't mean you were more devoted or more deserving. It simply reveals where you've been letting someone else define your worth. You might blame her for the emptiness, but the deeper truth is that you allowed her presence to fill spaces you never learned to fill for yourself. Stoicism calls you back to your center, reminding you that the real work begins not in pointing fingers or lamenting betrayal, but in examining how you gave away your power in the first place. If you resist the urge to wallow and instead observe your hurt, you'll see exactly where your walls were weakest, where you overlooked red flags, ignored your own boundaries, or failed to trust your instincts. Maybe you saw the signs but hoped love would transform them. Maybe you kept quiet out of fear of losing her. That's the lesson. Your pain exposes the places where you must become stronger, clearer, and more self-reliant. You can continue trying to bury these realizations under distractions and anger, or you can use them to forge a new discipline. Commit to daily actions that honor what you've learned. Pour your pain into a fitness routine that challenges your limits. Read the works of philosophers who endured greater trials, or journal about each insight this hurt has unlocked. When you embrace the role of pain as a teacher, you disrupt the cycle of mere suffering and turn it into fuel for evolution. It transforms from a weight that drags you down into a mirror reflecting how you must live differently going forward. The shift is subtle but powerful. Instead of complaining about why this happened to you, you start asking how you can leverage it to become someone whose worth no longer hinges on external approval. Over time, she becomes less of the story. The real narrative becomes your triumph over the very weaknesses her departure illuminated. Pain, then, is no longer the conclusion, it's the curriculum, and you are the student finally ready to learn. If you're ready to let hurt show you the path toward a stronger self, speak out below. I turn pain into wisdom. No longer will it keep me down. Number 3, control what you can claim. You've spent too much time trying to decipher her mindset, wondering why she left, what she's thinking, and whether she might return. Your thoughts spiral into the same dead end. You can't rewrite someone else's choices. And that's exactly where the Stoics would urge you to pause. Epictetus taught that freedom is found the moment you accept what lies beyond your control and invest your energy in what you can govern, your actions, your discipline, your state of mind. It's not about dismissing what happened or pretending you don't feel the sting of betrayal. Rather, it's about drawing a firm line between your domain and hers. Her decisions belong to her. Your response belongs to you. Right now, your emotions want closure, or maybe vindication. You want to see regret flicker in her eyes. But none of that changes the present reality. She's gone, and she may not explain herself. She took back whatever she once offered, but only because you allowed your peace of mind to hinge on her presence. By stepping away, she simply revealed the extent to which you'd relied on her choices for your self-worth. Now you stand at a crossroads. Keep pining for a response she won't give, or reclaim the parts of your life that were never hers to take. This is where discipline enters. Instead of checking your phone for messages that don't arrive, use that moment of expectation to reinforce your inner framework. Train your body, not as a vanity project, but as a testament to your capacity for commitment. Clean and reorder your living space until every corner reflects the man you're becoming, rather than the man who lost himself in someone else's decisions. In every small act of control, you remind yourself that you do have power. The shape of your day is yours to sculpt. The way you wake up, early or late, with purpose or in a fog, depends solely on the standards you choose to enforce. If you do it right, your routine becomes a fortress of your own making, keeping you engaged, alert, and moving forward instead of drifting back into memories of what was. Over time, you'll notice a shift. The constant wondering about her private thoughts or hidden motives begins to lose its pull. A quiet confidence starts to form within you, built from the consistency of taking ownership. You understand on a deeper level that you can't force her to care, nor can you erase the past, but you can direct the course of your own life. The Stoic principle isn't about denying that pain exists. It's about not letting that pain dictate how you spend your energy or shape your identity. By focusing on what you truly command, you become less vulnerable to the whims of anyone who leaves. You build a kingdom so grounded in self-awareness that no one can dethrone you by simply walking away. Now, if you're ready to seize control where it truly matters, speak out below. I fortify what I can own. My mind, my body, my day are mine alone. Number 4. Break the thought loop. You lie awake staring at the ceiling, replaying the same moments again and again. It's like a film stuck on repeat, and you keep hoping you'll see something different each time. A missed signal, a clue that might explain why she left. Yet the ending never changes. Despite knowing this, you remain trapped in that loop, the mind returning to the scene of heartbreak as if it might somehow rewrite itself. This is not healing, it's a mental prison where you willingly lock the door from the inside. Stoicism reminds us that the thoughts we indulge become the bars of our confinement. If you continue to let those memories cycle without interruption, you surrender your peace to an unchangeable past. Each replay doesn't bring clarity. It just deepens the grooves of hurt in your mind. The more you fixate on the unanswered questions, the more you reinforce a habit of dwelling in pain rather than acting on the present. Perhaps you tell yourself you're being thorough, that if you analyze the relationship from every angle, you'll finally understand what went wrong. But understanding alone won't free you. Knowing every detail of why she chose to walk away won't undo the choice itself. In the Stoic tradition, Epictetus would say that you're letting external factors long gone, occupy the space meant for your own growth. By replaying the past, you're willingly handing your mental real estate to someone who isn't even there. Imagine your mind as fertile ground, capable of growing either weeds or flowers. The repeated thoughts of her absence act like weeds, choking out any new seeds you might plant for the future. Each time you notice yourself cycling back to the same memory, you can choose to disrupt that pattern. The moment you catch your mind wandering down the same worn path, force yourself into a different activity, something tangible that demands your full attention. It could be an intense physical exercise, a deep study of a text that challenges your intellect, or any task requiring immediate focus. The point isn't to run away from how you feel, but to seize control of when and how you engage with those emotions, rather than letting them hijack your day. Breaking the loop also requires a deeper shift in how you understand your role in this story. You might believe that by re-examining the relationship, you're honoring what was lost. But endless reflection can become a form of self-punishment, as if you're waiting for her to return or for the universe to grant you closure. Stoicism teaches that closure is not a gift bestowed by others. It's a decision to accept what is, and to refuse to remain a prisoner to what's gone. The more you allow yourself to ruminate, the more you let a single chapter define your entire narrative. By consciously snapping out of these mental reruns, you reclaim your present from the grip of a memory. Over time, this simple but firm interruption of negative thought patterns changes your internal landscape. Instead of walking the same worn trails of regret, you begin carving new paths that lead towards self-development. Every day you practice this, the loop weakens. You become stronger, more rooted in what you can create rather than what you've lost. She no longer lives at the forefront of your mind because you've chosen to cultivate new spaces where her absence holds no power. In that shift, you discover that true freedom starts not when the memories vanish, but when they lose their ability to dictate your direction. If you're done letting old scenes hijack your reality, speak out below. I refuse to live on repeat. My future deserves my full attention. Number 5. Stop seeking closure. You stand at the edge of your phone, waiting for one last message from her that might explain everything, a final puzzle piece that brings relief to the knot tightening in your chest. Yet nothing arrives. Silence can be more haunting than any words she could send, because it leaves the story unfinished, stuck in that moment of heartbreak where you lost your footing. You tell yourself that, if only she would clarify why she left, if only you understood her reasons, then you could move on. But Stoicism reminds us that real closure doesn't hinge on another person's explanation. It's born from your own willingness to accept what is. The longer you wait for her to solve your pain, the more you abandon the power you already hold to free yourself. So you linger in a state of suspended hope, half convinced she'll return with all the answers you crave. This hope isn't a balm, it's a tether. Each day you cling to it, you willingly surrender a piece of your emotional independence. Epictetus would say that you're placing your peace of mind in her hands, allowing her unspoken words to dictate your healing. That's the crux of why Stoicism urges us to break from this longing. It's an illusion that feeds on your own reluctance to let go. If she truly wanted you to know her reasons, you'd have them by now. If closure was hers to give, it would already be on your doorstep. She chose not to give it, and ironically, that choice points more clearly to your path forward than any explanation she could provide. When you realize closure isn't a gift someone hands to you, but a stance you take for yourself, something shifts. You stop scanning your phone for missed calls or replaying old conversations to read between the lines. Instead, you acknowledge that the relationship ended and that certain questions may never have answers. In that acceptance, you stop tying your healing to her words. You let the final scene remain incomplete. And it's in that incompleteness you discover your own strength. The void where her explanations might have been becomes space you can fill with constructive action, writing down your truths about what happened, sifting through your own mistakes and lessons, and making a resolute decision to shape the narrative of your future on your own terms. This transition requires a willingness to embrace uncertainty. It feels counterintuitive at first because we're trained to believe that closure arrives in neat packages with both sides walking away enlightened. But real life seldom grants such neatness. The Stoic perspective tells us that even when chaos and questions remain, you can forge peace within. You do this by turning your gaze from what she withheld to what you can become. The moment you decide to stop seeking a final word from her is the moment you start authoring the next chapter of your life. No more waiting for clarity that may never appear. No more pinning your self-worth to an external verdict. It's a leap from passive hoping to active creation, and it's one of the most liberating leaps you can make. If your heart feels restless for answers she won't provide, dare to write your own ending. Dare to say, I accept what I don't know, and choose to step forward anyway. That's what Stoicism looks like in action. Choosing to live, to grow, and to heal on a foundation you build yourself, rather than one you hope someone else will construct for you. The closure you seek doesn't live in her inbox, it lives in your choice to move on without her permission. Let the silence stand as it is, and fill that quiet space with the sound of your renewed determination to live for yourself, not for an explanation that never came. Now, if you're ready to stop waiting for her words and forge your own path ahead, speak out below. I release the need for her explanation. My future is my own. Number 6. Feel the void, then fill it. You wake up to a strange emptiness, that dull ache of absence where she used to be. Your first instinct might be to flee from it. Distract yourself with social media, texts to friends, or anything that temporarily blurs the loneliness. But Stoicism challenges you to do the opposite. Feel that void in all its rawness, because running from it only prolongs the influence she still has over you. If the pain stays buried, it inevitably resurfaces in moments of weakness. Accepting the void's presence is the first step toward eventually outgrowing it. Right now, every reminder of her, an old message, a mutual friend mentioning her name, triggers a wave of longing. You might catch yourself wishing you could go back to the comfort of what once felt whole. Yet the Stoic path demands that you see this longing for what it truly is, a sign you once tied your identity and sense of security to someone else's proximity. Feel that pang, let it pass through you, and pay attention to the places inside you it stings. That ache is your roadmap, showing you exactly where you need to grow stronger on your own. This isn't about avoiding the pain. It's about standing in the center of it and realizing you can survive there. Once you recognize that solitude doesn't kill you, a quiet power emerges. You see that the void she left isn't some permanent scar. It's unclaimed territory waiting to be cultivated. The next question is how to fill it. Many distract themselves with empty pleasures. Nightlife, superficial connections, fleeting highs. But those are temporary bandages, not cures. If you fill the space with meaninglessness, you'll remain tethered to the memory of her, because you'll be subconsciously comparing empty thrills to the substance you once had. Instead, choose to fill this void with purpose. Redesign your morning routine so that each day starts with physical exertion that demands your presence. Read a challenging text that broadens your perspective, forcing you to grapple with new ideas instead of old regrets. Seek out tasks or skills that stretch your capabilities. Learning an instrument, pursuing a hobby you once dismissed, or stepping into a leadership role that tests your resolve. In each of these choices, you create a life that isn't defined by her absence, but by your deliberate expansion. Over time, the emptiness transforms into a workshop where you forge new strengths, new passions, new angles on who you can be. It won't be easy or instant. The mind has a way of circling back to what's familiar, even if that familiarity is tinged with sadness. But each time you redirect your focus onto constructive action, each time you invest in a project that shapes your future, you tighten your hold on the present moment. Gradually, she becomes less central to your identity, and you become more grounded in the life you're consciously building. The void itself becomes proof of your capacity to endure and create in the aftermath of loss. If you're prepared to turn emptiness into fertile ground, speak out below. I face the void and fill it with purpose. This space is mine to shape. Number 7. Make her irrelevant. You may believe that achieving closure means erasing her from your thoughts entirely, as if forgetting her would grant you freedom. Yet true freedom isn't about banishing memories, it's about no longer letting them hold power. Perhaps you think she still lingers in your mind because she was significant, an unforgettable presence who shaped you for a while. But in reality, she remains because you haven't fully committed to becoming someone whose life renders her place less and less relevant. Stoicism demands that we develop an internal structure so robust that no single person's absence can topple us. You might catch yourself checking up on her online, wondering if she's moved on, or simply letting her face drift through your thoughts when you feel lonely. Each moment of lingering concern is a moment you're granting her control over your emotional state. When you wonder whether she's thinking of you, you're already conceding ground. The Stoics would ask why you entrust her with any share of your mental stability. If the answer is habit, sentiment, or longing, you must recognize that each day spent in this loop is a day you forfeit your own sense of purpose. Making her irrelevant isn't about denying that she mattered. It's about structuring your life so fully that her role diminishes by default. Consider how you use your time. If idle moments persist, they often become an invitation for old thoughts to intrude. Fill those spaces strategically. Break a sweat every morning, study topics that challenge your intellect, cultivate relationships that inspire growth, or pick up new skills that demand total focus. In doing so, you're not merely distracting yourself, you're forging a new identity where her memory has no foothold. This isn't a form of revenge, it's a reclamation of who you choose to be now that she's no longer around. Over time, you'll notice you think of her less, not because you forced yourself to forget, but because you've constructed a life so rich, so aligned with your own values, that she naturally fades from the center stage. The more disciplined you become in filling your days with meaningful work and connection, the more your mind stops returning to past attachments. She loses the power to trigger emotional chaos because you've grown beyond the version of yourself that once clung to her presence. This growth doesn't necessarily mean resentment or bitterness. It can coexist with gratitude for whatever lessons she taught you. But gratitude doesn't demand you stay bound to her memory. In fact, true gratitude flourishes when you integrate the lessons learned and move on freely. Eventually, you'll find her name evokes little more than a mild curiosity. You may reflect on who you were during that time, but you won't feel the pull to dwell in it. That's when you know you've reached a place of genuine detachment, when she becomes just another thread in the tapestry of your life, not the loom upon which everything is woven. It's the moment you stop letting her define your sense of worth or direction. If you're ready to define a life so expansive that she becomes a mere footnote, speak out below. I outgrow her legacy by living with purpose. Her absence no longer defines me. You started this journey feeling trapped by your memories, believing you'd never fully heal. Now you see the truth. Your past didn't break you. It shaped you into someone unstoppable. She never held your power. She only showed you where you had forgotten your strength. If you're ready to let go and move forward stronger than ever, like this video, subscribe and comment below. I am unstoppable. Stay strong, keep growing. Your future is yours to create.